Good day, everyone. This is Patrick from EasyFX Code Trading System, and it's Saturday, the 14th of August, 2021. And this is the weekly technical analysis for the euro, the cable, and the Aussie dollar for the third week of August. Let's begin with the euro, where you can see a strong bullish move on the Friday. So for last week overall, the euro has been trying to recover, and it climbed back up to retest the trend line where it fell below at 118.00 and also back up to the weekly pivot for last week at 118.05. That's the high is at within 0.1 pip. So it's climbed back up to retest the resistance, and there could be some consolidation this week. And following that, there's still overall weakness for the euro. We can also move this fib over to here so that we can see the pullback and the retracement. Let's switch this over. And it's from this high from the last month. It's just missed out on hitting the 50 fib. However, we switch to the 4-hour time frame. You can see that if we take it from this swing high at the last test of the 119, and that's where the previous week it tested the resistance and then fell off, rejected, and fell hard throughout the end of last week, following the stronger than expected US ISM services PMI, and then followed by the NFP on the Friday. And then this is the recovery back up, and that's the 50% fib retracement. So this is more reflective of the retracement move for last week. And it was basically supported by slightly lower than expected core CPI figures from the US on the Wednesday, and then followed by lower than expected consumer sentiment at 10 o'clock on the Friday night, last night, and this gave a boost to the euro to hit and target the 50 fib retracement area. So there could be some consolidation next week, and we'll see whether it's able to break through this resistance area and try to hit the 62 fib retracement, or whether it's going to be rejected and consolidate, and see what the impact is for next week with these news coming up. Let's go back to the daily time frame. So yeah, if we use this swing move down, that's the 50 fib retracement. It did not quite reach the support at the 117 for the low of last week. It didn't get to the 38 fib retracement. So this is still a key support area. And this is still resistance zone. At 118 area. Just the weekly pivot back. So This is still a strong resistance zone. We'll see whether it's able to break or spike through, but expect some consolidation. Let's mark this also as green. Okay. And this coming week, the Eurozone, there's only a couple of minor news with the flash GDP and final CPI figures, but on the US side, it could be some impact on the euro with the FOMC meeting minutes being released late on Wednesday. So we'll see if there's any trigger from that. Let's also take a look at the US dollar index, which should be inversely correlated with the euro. And yes, after testing the recent highs, it pulled back lower. That's the Wednesday US CPI figure. And then followed through a weaker Friday with the University of Michigan consumer sentiment figures, which was significantly lower than expected. And that drove it lower past the 21 FIB retracement and then back down into this range here. I think we can remove this bullish channel here. This is key resistance there now, and looks like consolidation within this zone with resistance at the 92.78 area, and it looks like there's support coming up from the daily 55 and 200 EMAs. So let's mark this zone here as well for support. Let's mark this as an interim support. Key area for support will be the 38 FIB area with these swing lows and the 55 EMA previously. Okay, so this does look like a double top formation, and it could likely dip lower to test this area. We'll see how much lower it'll go, but the likelihood of consolidation is more likely. So likewise on the euro. Could also be consolidation here. It could try to spike, but then likelihood is consolidation for next week. Okay, let's move on to cable. And it has been fairly resistive in falling lower, so the support finally hit the 138 and bounced back up on Friday. So this is our key support zone, and it wasn't able to climb up above the 55 EMA, and basically got caught in a range here for last week. So it's very supportive area at 138. This coming week, there's a couple of medium impact news with jobs and CPI, and later on Friday, retail sales, but also exposed to the US FOMC meeting minutes. We'll see if there's any new news from there. But looks like for next week could be further consolidation. Resistance is definitely at the 139 area and the 50 FIB. And the support is at this multiple 38 FIB zones of this one of the swing moves here in green, and a significant support at the 138. So also move this trend line away now. And it's we'll see if it's able to climb up higher back to the 50 FIB area, along with the 139.00. It was below the weekly pivot for last week. And let's just take a quick look on the weekly time frame. And it's a doji following a small spring top the previous week, so very tight range and consolidating. So we need to see a breakout from these zones, breakout higher above the 139, test these highs, and either a breakdown to the 21 FIB area where the daily 200 EMA is, just above the 137. Otherwise, it's trapped in this range and continue to consolidate. All right, let's move on to the Aussie dollar. And this week, along with the FOMC minutes, there's also the RBA monetary policy minutes being released on Tuesday, and then some key news on jobs on Thursday. But this was also in a fairly tight range for last week, only 60, 70 pips for last week, and not able to dip lower to the support zone. So resistance zone is still at the 0.7400, along with the monthly pivot just slightly above that. And we can extend this to show that it did come back to retest the trend line, and we'll see it did basically it's still hovering around the 138 FIB extension, along with the weekly pivot, closed right at the weekly pivot for last week. And on the weekly time frame, and another spinning top, so supported by the weekly 200 EMA. So already 3 weeks of consolidation here. since the second half of last month. We could also move this fib over here now. Let's move this to the swing low of last month and move this swing high to that of May. We can also flip this over. It has only retraced back up to the 21 fib area. And has been contained under that for quite a few weeks now, about 3 weeks. That's the consolidation area. So since falling lower into this 0.73 support level, so has not been able to climb up higher, and eventually it will have to either break out higher or break down. But for now, it's further consolidation. All right. So do check out my other videos on spot gold and dollar yen, where some major moves with spot gold to watch out and take note of. Have a good week and a safe week, and cheers for now.